What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager Season 1, Episode 17. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 16-minute episode. We're going to be picking up right where we left off in the last episode. Now, I want to talk about this area specifically with the red line here. There was a clip that I had made where I had deleted this stuff out underneath the red line and I moved it up by 3 blocks. For whatever reason, when I transferred this over, that specific clip became corrupted and I wasn't able to include it. So what I've done here, I've got you guys though. This is super simple what I did here, because we did this in the previous episode where we added a row of red concrete going along the front of what our shelf would have been for what the bridge would sit on. So what I did was I used that same template. I brought it 3 or 4 blocks up, and then I rebuilt it in the same exact pattern. Everything else underneath it, so the original row of red and then the rows of gray underneath that, I deleted that. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that. Once you do, you're going to be right where I'm at now. And then you can go ahead and hit play, and then we'll be able to continue this on. Because what I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to get the size of the shelf right. But there's going to be a couple of things that are going to have to kind of fall together here on this area specifically. Having the shelf match up with the top portion of the saucer, and then eventually the backbone of the neck. But don't worry, we are going to get there. It's just going to be a couple of steps to get us where we need to be. One of the things I think is super important too with your tutorial, when you're doing ships like this, you know, when I'm doing my tutorials, it looks like, you know, we just jump from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. That's not always so cut and dry when you're building a ship out like this. Believe it or not, a lot of these in-between clips that I'm doing, I might be taking like maybe an hour, 20 minutes, a day, a week, whatever it is, in between time to stop what I'm doing and think about what I want to do going forward. Even if I'm sure of where I want to go, sometimes just taking a breather from what you're doing is so beneficial, because it gives you time to think about what you've done and maybe what you need to do. This is why I've adopted building or having other builds at the same time that I'm doing my main build, not only to keep myself from getting burnt out, but just to take a break in general from working on that main build to focus on something else, just to give my brain a chance to recharge, to let it marinate for a while, and then come back and attack it. I can't stress, you know, just how vital this is for those of you that are wanting to build a lot of stuff on Minecraft. Because what I've found in the past, like especially with the Enterprise D, because the first go around for the Enterprise D, that was a long process to get that ship where it needed to be. And I probably could have built it in a shorter period of time if I had a couple of side projects to work on. Because what ultimately ended up happening on the Enterprise D is I kept getting burnt out on it, more or less. Either spinning my tires on a section of the ship that I wasn't fully happy with, or just getting tired of just working on the same thing for such a long period of time. So it can be very, very beneficial taking a break from whatever it is that you're currently working on. Now, with that being said, if you're one of those people that you just want to get it done, I mean, go for it, you know. The stuff that I'm suggesting here is not anything that's set in stone. These are just more or less guidelines that I've kind of adopted that have helped me out to get kind of where I'm at this point. And it seems to be working out really, really well. So I'm pretty happy with the way the shelving outline is looking, at least from the sides. The front of it, that red template that we have, that's eventually going to go. And pretty much everything, at least 3 or 4 layers here, we're going to be getting rid of it. I think right now, this row of half slabs and everything above it, we're going to be getting rid of that, because we have to start blending it down. And you know, this didn't look terrible, but one of the issues and one of the reasons why I'm changing this is because the template that I'm working out now for the shelving that the bridge is going to sit on doesn't mesh with the very, very top of our saucer. And not only that, the shape of it doesn't match our reference material. So that's why I'm making this change at this point. It's justifiable as far as I'm concerned. We have to, because this is kind of how I am when I do my ships. Like, if I'm not fully satisfied with something and I think that I can do better, or I think it looks like crap, it's going to bother me until I fix it. That's just kind of how I am. I cannot help that when it comes to building stuff on here. Now, there'll be times where I'll build something out and maybe I'm not fully satisfied with it, but I can live with it. That wasn't a case here. This was really a necessity that I have to do it. And it's going to be this area specifically where we make a couple of changes on, and then the thickness of the lower hull. Those are going to be the most areas where we're going to spend the most time at. Yeah, because we're even going to have to take a couple more rows off here, off this cut line. Don't do it yet. We'll do it. I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea of what we'll be doing going forward. Where basically what we'll do is, with this cut line here, we'll be taking off a couple more rows, and then we'll be doing that whole shelf, but it won't have the same progression. We'll actually bring it back a little bit more, and then we'll blend that in with the shelf. And it's going to look pretty good. Like I said, if you want to get an idea of what this area is ultimately going to look like when it's finished, you need to check out my tour episode of Voyager for what the finished ship is going to look like. But we're not there yet. I had the benefit at this point of knowing where we're going to go, but at this point in the build process, I haven't quite figured all that out yet. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, what I'm going to try to do here is flatten it out on this level. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to do. We're going to close all that in. Once you do that, you can go ahead and hit play. We've skipped to the point of after I've closed all that in. So one thing that I know at this point is that my shelf needs to come out a little bit further what the bridge is going to sit on. And I know that it needs to go in more of a circle. So that's why that red outline is still there, because it gives me a point of reference to go off of. I think that the first go around we're going to try to match that template at first, but ultimately we'll be going back and making it in much more of a circular shape to what it needs to be. But that red line there, it's actually very, very helpful, because it's going to give me a guideline of what I don't want to do. And Voyager kind of has like a cut on each side here where the shelving sits on, where kind of the shelf and the lower hull blend in together. I'm not going to lie, that even when everything is all said and done, that's probably the one area that I still wasn't 100% fully satisfied with. But again, that just kind of comes back to those things where we're going to make like 3 or 4 attempts with adjusting it, and it just kind of, it's going to fall at, well, it's about as good as it's going to get at this point. But we're not there yet. Yeah, because especially, it really, this is where circular front is just going to be super beneficial, because with this template that we currently have, it's too boxy, it's too flat. It's not going to blend in with that cut line here, and that's really what we need, is that circular shape. Try not to hit pause here, but some of these areas we kind of need to discuss it a little bit, so this way you guys can get in the same state of mind where I'm at right now, and what's going through my mind, and the changes that I'm thinking about making, or excuse me, the changes that I think that we're going to need to make. You can see that I can see that that flat face is just not working, in that I'm trying to slowly but surely develop more of a circular shape, because that flat surface, it's just not working out for the shelf. Alright, so we more or less have our template here to where our shelf and our saucer are going to meet together. But the shelf needs to stick out a little bit. So what this is telling me right now, where I currently have it on the template, that I need to take off another layer or two. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete everything from the half slab and up for the front section. You want to make sure when you're deleting this, we're not cutting away any of our outline that we just did for the front section of our shelf where the bridge is going to sit. And you want to make sure, like you can see I'm being a little bit sloppy there with what I'm deleting, but you need to be careful that you're not deleting anything else other than the half slabs and that full row that's behind it. Now, if you mess up here and there and you delete a couple of rows of gray, that's not a big deal. We can always, or excuse me, the white concrete, we can always go back and fix that. Now we're going to continue our guideline on here, down a few more blocks, and now we're going to take off another row. And we're going to literally repeat the same process that we just did. Want to make sure that we're not deleting our reference outline for the shelf of the bridge, and we're going to delete the half slabs and the full blocks behind it. Now, what we have here, believe it or not, it's not where we're going to end up, but this step alone, believe it or not, was actually vital to the whole process at this point, because this gave me such a better idea of where we were going to have to start going. Now, we're going to fill all that stuff in on the saucer. I started to, but you're going to fill all this in going back to our shelf. I'm not going to do that on camera. I'll do that off camera. Bring it all the way up to the shelf, fill all that in. And then from there, We're going to be coming back to our lower hull and our neck. So what I'm trying to do right now is anticipate the blending of the saucer and the lower hull. That's why I'm continuing the cut line in 3 rows before I start to bring in. So what is going to happen is that we're going to have a 1 block gap between the side and what will become the top. But this in itself, very, very simple what I'm doing here. I'm just following my cut line. You want to make sure that your pattern is staying the same. So you need to have 1 block gap the whole way back. And we're going to do this for both the left side and the right side. And I'll be completely honest with you guys too, and I think I even talked about it in the tour episode. The very top part of the lower part of the hull, of the lower hull, from the sides, it ended up looking great, but from the top, it wasn't 100% of where I wanted it to be. I think I got to like 96% maybe, but it wasn't as spot on as I was trying to get it to. But it was pretty close. Alright, so now we're just continuing. You're going to do the same thing on the right side. You can see I don't bring this all the way back either. What I'm doing is this way you get your stopping point. See that cut line here? This is where we're stopping, where the outline for the backbone of the neck meets this. That's where we're stopping. So we have to stretch that out by 1. So this way our cut line meets right there. So it'll be a little bit cleaner. And then what I'm going to do is just do a row going straight across, just to make sure that both sides match up. Now what you can do to clean that up a little bit is we can come back with a row of half slabs and cover up our gap that we have. And this was actually, I got lucky with that step right here, because that step right here in itself is ultimately what we'll be doing for more or less the whole blending point for the entire top portion of our lower hull. Using half slabs can be very, very beneficial depending on what you're doing. Sometimes the blending doesn't always work out. But I think that's going to do it for us today. We've got a decent amount of work done. We're slowly but surely knocking it out, 1 episode at a time. But if you guys have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below. Definitely love hearing from everybody. Any build suggestions that you want to see, be sure to drop a comment below or join the Discord and click on build suggestions. This way you can drop your suggestions for people to vote on. But bear in mind right now, really what I need, I have about 1,001 large build ideas, but I need smaller build ideas. That's really what I need right now, because I'm trying to put out a little bit more content for you guys while I'm working on the main tutorial series. So if there's any small builds that you guys want to see me do, drop a comment. Definitely love hearing from everybody. Also, if you want to see Voyager Season 2, where we're going to be getting into the interior, you need to go on my YouTube channel and click on the community and vote. There's a poll on there right now, so you can let me know if you want to see Season 2 of that. Also, we've got the Excelsior 2 class tutorial that's going to be coming up, as well as the Enterprise A 2.0 tutorial that I'll be doing once we hit 1,000 subscribers. And then we've also got the Enterprise D Season 2 that'll be coming up. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.